So the Elaine Robinson case is one of our oldest cases in Pierce County. That it's one of the first cases where literally the person, for lack of better, walks off the face of the earth. She'd had a few things happen around the time of her disappearance. She had a breakup with a boyfriend, but otherwise was described as just somebody who liked adventure. And she was coming up to Washington to visit a friend and just do some travel. From there, the story takes an interesting turn in that eventually it is found that she had been seen at Mount Rainier by two campers at Sunshine Point. When she arrived at the campground on foot with two dogs, wet, cold, asking if she could get some assistance, they loaned her a tent, and when they wake up in the morning, she's gone. She's left her belongings behind, and both she and her dogs are now just vanished.
Investigators have a limited amount of information about this case. We searched for more details at the University of Washington.
They don't mention ever finding any trace of her or the animals after that final sighting at Sunshine Point.
And that's a pretty good-sized search group that went to look for them.
Yeah. Detailed grid search, looks like involving 100 people. For them not to find any sign of a woman, and as we know, two dogs anywhere in that area near Sunshine Point. There's just so many unknowns in this story, how she got from her car to the campground where she was last seen, and obviously where she went from there, which is sort of the mystery we're looking into today.
Very difficult because unlike most crimes, you don't have the body of the crime to work with, so to speak, right? Like you don't have the person, and oftentimes you don't have a crime scene.
Not only did Elaine disappear, so did the campsite where she was last seen. In November of 2006, nearly 18 inches of rain fell in Mount Rainier National Park, causing the Nisqually River to overflow. The Sunshine Point campground was washed away. Campers were disappointed to hear this popular spot was gone. So were investigators.
As the detective, you want to be able to go back a lot of times to revisit the crime scene. Well, the crime scene may not exist any longer, so that's a challenge.
We presume that she is deceased, but in this amount of time, we also have not found her remains at Mount Rainier, and they've done a considerable amount of construction in the park.
Sometimes people refer to as the 1970s as like the golden age of serial killing. To some degree, I think that's true because there were quite a few known serial killers operating in Washington back in the 1970s.
But you can't discount the fact that that could have happened just based on the fact pattern with this young woman. I think that we have to leave ourselves open that it could be any one of those possibilities.
No one has seen Elaine in 45 years. Every tip that has been received hasn't panned out. Time is running out to get this case solved.
We're approaching that time if we don't reach out to people and ask if anyone remembers or ever heard anybody say anything about picking up a young woman and driving her into Mount Rainier. We're going to lose a generation that would have that information, and it will be completely unsolvable.